So beautiful. So weird. The effect's not quite the same on film. So we're on our way in a snowstorm to go try to find someone that's lost in the woods. You'll say a prayer. Our verse tonight is 1 Corinthians 16, 13 through 14. Be on your guard, stand firm in the faith, be courageous, be strong, do everything in love. That's 1 Corinthians 16, verses 13 and 14. And we will pray. Father, our Creator, we thank you. We thank you for allowing us to be a part of your creation. We thank you for your provision and protection. We thank you for your wisdom. Let the words used here tonight be filled with holy wisdom and be a guide for our children and grandchildren so they may protect themselves in every way from both physical and spiritual predators. Keep your hand over all of us this evening, all those who will view us now and in the future, Lord. We thank you for this opportunity to get together and to talk. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Amen. Lead tracker E, and this is Jerry Williams. And we will ask everyone to...
We really forgot to put this into a note chat. So if we have...
We'll just be ignoring the chat.
Yeah, we're going to be ignoring the chat.
So if there's any of our moderators in the room,
be on your guard
take
today.
Care of it, please.
Yeah. We just want everybody listening tonight. But thank you, Lorna. And
Jerry, I thought this was going to be a private meeting.
No, it's not a private. This is the third.
Okay.
The third conclusion of, yeah. But it was supposed to be with no chat, no live chat.
I understand. Yeah. I'm watching it.
Okay.
And we're still waiting for a few more of the guests. So we will start with Jerry. Would you please give your introduction?
So, and we're going to proceed whether people show up or not. Mm-hmm. But tonight, welcome back to everyone here. This is the third and final meeting of tribes about the Bigfoot and hybrids. The agenda for the final meeting is the vote of the Bigfoot and hybrid to be a predator or a non-predator amongst the tribes. The importance of the meeting is to clear up and to clarify the phrase the Indians say. So we're here to clarify this, and right now everyone is supposed to be here. We told them 7 o'clock. And we also, there was supposed to be another person who may be here tonight, but they are also late, and we just don't need any late people. Is there any? Fern.
Well, you can.
So April, Gina, Fern said that she can't make it in just now.
but we do know her vote.
Yeah, we do know. Well, let's ask her. We're gonna have to turn her fast.
Tracker B will be in the room shortly. She's at work, but said that she can enter the room at 7:15.
I'm gonna send her another copy real fast. And also, after we do the vote, that we also have we need to talk with everyone also real fast, just a little bit after that. So stay after for a little bit more. B is trying to get in. She'll be here in just a moment. And she's coming on now. And she's only going to be here for just a moment. So if we don't have any new people, another tribe, then we are going to go ahead and go to open floor.
Mm-hmm. And maybe they'll be here by the time that we
we'll
get to the vote.
We got some discussions. And if
there's Tracker B.
Okay.
Good evening, Tracker B. Will you please introduce yourself?
Sure. Bernice Dubozin Shekian in short with Genie Bashishtin. Twin Lakes de Agisina Shop, but in the Louisiana de Eshagan, Shidosha Chinebe Doshas team. Good afternoon. My name is Bernice Dubose. I'm originally from Twin Lakes, New Mexico. I reside in Fisher, Louisiana with my children and my husband.
Thank you, Bernice.
You're welcome.
How long do you think we have you, Bernice?
Until 8 o'clock.
Okay. Oh, good.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for arranging that, and thank your boss for arranging that.
I'll
Okay,
let him know.
we will go to War Chief. Will you please introduce yourself?
Yes, ma'am. My name is Charles Hamill. I'm of Choctaw and Cherokee heritage. Right now, I live in Huffman, Texas, down by Houston. Originally raised in North Central Texas. Have had one serious encounter with up in southeastern Oklahoma with a Bigfoot in 1974.
Thank you, War Chief.
Yes.
Hi, to chimchikma chata nopa vomoma sa super plichi. Chata, yeah, okay. Bringing the wampum to speak. I'm from Oklahoma, but I have Mississippi and other bloodlines, Kushata bloodlines, Kuncha clan. Happy to be here as well.
Thank you. Should we go?
So we were waiting for a person who might be here, a Lakota, who was going to share some information of ongoing and present activity, but we don't see that person here
yet.
So we're going to go ahead and go to open floor. And for us, we already know each other. So the open floor would be much more for the other people to ask us questions or to ask questions or for us to ask them questions. But we'll give them a little time if there's anything you want to talk about or share or information that's happening in your area right now. We can do that. And then after the open floor, we're going to go to the vote, even if it's just us. We're going to finish this up tonight. But the floor is open. So if there's anything that...
Jerry and Ella, y'all remember me mentioning about the raven, bunch of ravens that flew over the other 3 days ago.
Yes.
Last night, about 10 o'clock, I was letting my German Shepherd out before I went to bed. And I opened the patio door and let her out. And she immediately started barking. And something ran across the top of my patio room. There's like 3 steps. It wasn't a cat, it wasn't a squirrel, it wasn't a raccoon. It was too heavy for that. But she turned right around and came back in, which she don't normally do.
Mm-hmm.
And this morning I went up and got out there. I have 3 skylights on the top of that patio room. And all I saw was about scuff marks about 3 inches wide going across both of them, or all 3 of them. Wasn't steps, they just like with it, it's scooting across and getting across off of it. And I looked for prints in the side yard there, and I didn't see any. But my security system didn't pick up anything either. It had, if it was solid, it would have picked it up, and I would have had a video of it. So it had to be in the translucent stage for that not to pick it up.
Yeah.
It was a little alarming. It did alarm me a little bit, but after about 15, 20 minutes, I let her back out, and she went ahead and went out and did her business, but she didn't go very far from the patio room.
Yep, all the signs were there.
Yeah, I just not quite sure. Don't have any tangible except for the scrape marks across those skylights on my patio room.
Except for those, huh?
Yeah. And by the way, they're still there. So anyway, I think that's all for me for right now.
Okay, thank you, Board Chief. I would like to ask first April to introduce yourself. Hello. Oh, you have a full mouth. Sorry. I'll give you just a second, and we'll go to Gina. Will you please introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Gina Lang. And I'm April Martin. Gina's my mom.
And your tribe and area?
Our tribe and area. Oh, I'm from the Uchuckwissa tribe, which is on the west coast of the island.
On the west.
On the west coast of Canada.
Okay, we're having a little trouble with your audio.
Oh.
Okay, we're at the floor right now, so if there's any questions you might even want to ask about the Bigfoot or anything, this is that time. We got some experienced people in the room, or anything you want to talk about that's pertaining to the Bigfoot right now. And after open floor, if there was supposed to be another person come in from the Lakota Nation. She's a grandmother. She's got some activity right now. She's wanting to join and talk with us also, but I don't see her right now.
And also Fred from Alaska.
And Fred from Alaska was, well, everyone's either still going to be here or
We still
on
have
their way.
Yeah, we only have about half the panel here so far.
But we have Bernice until 8 o'clock, and we're going to ask Bernice before she has to go back for her vote on whether the Bigfoots are predators or non-predators. And then we're going to go back to open floor and finish up and ask everyone individually how they feel about the Bigfoots in their area. And then we'll close up. And we also have some things that we have to discuss after the stream, after the vote. And everybody's welcome to stay around in the chat. We got to cover just a couple things afterwards.
Bernice, what's going on in your area? And then we'll wait until 8 o'clock for the vote, right?
Yeah. Well,
before you leave, we want to make sure to get your vote, Bernice, or Tracker
Okay.
B.
All right. Well, after I read that letter, or I was so upset. I went to Liddy Road, started cussing, just yelling into the dark, into the tree line. Just got a lot of stuff out. And Heard a yell back. That was got in my car, came back. I went out there by myself. I was really a rush, just upset. Um, After that, next couple of days, last night, well, up to last night, um, every single night, dogs barking. Our dogs barking. Our puppies, the big dog outside, neighborhood dogs barking, just all night. And I probably pissed the hell out of them the way I was just yelling at them and everything. Because right after that, went home, started off from that next day, that night, hasn't stopped since. So I'm expecting that again tonight. And my husband looks out the window, don't see nothing. Dogs are seeing something, growling and barking and chain snapping, and our big dog wants to attack something, but we just don't see it. So um, that's what's going on in our area, in our community.
Um, since we still have some more time, if you care to go into it, would you like to tell a little more of your background of what's happening in your personal experience?
Um, uh, you mean from when I first?
General with what happened with your guest, what the letter was about, just how it's affected your life. These things have affected your life personally.
Well, with I mean, I guess when I was younger, I didn't really figure. You got your grandmas and your uncles, and telling you don't go in the woods, don't whistle at night, don't. I got my grandma on my mom's side is telling me, don't be afraid of the woods. There's nothing to be afraid of. You can go in the dark. You're just scaring yourself. But on my dad's side, she told me, or my brothers and I, don't whistle at night. Don't run around outside. The creatures are going to take you. Not knowing, that I thought she was just scaring us. We would go wood hauling with her. Here in Knox. And I was just thinking, okay, somebody's using an axe chopping wood. That's what I thought. As I started, growing up, something almost went in with my auntie at my auntie's trailer. She was talking about something with long hairy arms, was trying to break in through her back door. It bent the trailer door. They were screaming for my dad. My dad drove up there, started shooting at something. They looked at the door. The door was all bent. And just little things like that when I was growing up. So moved out here, and then started watching scary movies, and that's how I started to know about Bigfoot, and then Louisiana. Oh, Louisiana is filled with Bigfoots, and I'm just thinking they're the movies. So my husband came out to work, stayed in New Mexico, worked for social services, couldn't really move at the time. Took us the kids and I about a year to come down. When we came down, we stayed with his brother for a while, not even like 2 months, almost not close to 2 months. We found our own place, Fisher. Okay, it's a little community with retired people. So I told my husband, I said, it's going to be quiet. It's going to be a really quiet place. Elderlies around us, so shouldn't be not much trouble or anything like that. I feel comfortable here. So we started to live there, and my son is the one that first seen Bigfoot. He said it chased him, and he was so frightened that we tried to calm him down. And that's when he was telling us Mom had long, hairy arms. We looked at each other. We knew what it was. I mean, my brother came down 2 weeks later. I guess he told his uncle, "Hey, you know what? This is what I seen in the woods. Come on, let's go." So they decided to go back on Liddy Road and explore. As they were Bigfoot calling, walking down the road, he said, "Mom, a big one came out. It peeked out. We seen it, and then all of a sudden, a little one came out." So you can literally see them, talking about, "Oh, there's another one that came out. Look at that little one," and you can see a little black figure come out of the tree line. So they did that. That happened, and then my daughter's friend, I guess, decided he wanted to come down to Louisiana just to get away from things, and he had some problems or issues or something like that with his family, so he decided to come out here and just spend some time down here with my daughter and my son. I guess they knew each other since boarding school. So, and my daughter told me we protect each other in boarding school. We had to protect each other. So they've known him since probably third grade, fourth grade. Came down here. I asked him. I said, I told him, I said, "Do you believe in Bigfoot?" And he said, "Yes." He goes, "Yeah, I do." I said, "Okay." I said, "Well, in our area where we live, we have videos of it. So don't go in the woods. The woods are dangerous." I said, "Not only that," I said, "we have panthers, we have hogs, things like that. So don't go in the woods. Don't go walking around where you're not supposed to." He said, "Okay, Bernice." So, and that's when I was telling you, hey, you know what? My daughter's friend came down, and not even 2 days, the second or third day, he decides to take a walk on a dirt road. I guess the sun was, it was going down, but it was still up. So he figured, before it came down, he's going to come back out. Nope, that didn't happen. He got lost. Too many dirt roads splitting from each other, and actually, he said he got lost and it got dark. Tried to find his way back. And I called the police around about midnight, and they couldn't find him. And that's when I contacted Jerry and Tracker E, and I let them know that, hey, you know what? My daughter's friend's missing. And they really decided they wanted to come down. They wanted to come down and help us. I mean, they were just willing to pick up and go when I called them. And stayed up all night trying to wait around, look around. He didn't come home. So I guess if Jerry and Tracker E were ready to come down, all of a sudden, 6 o'clock in the morning, he shows up with the police with completely butt naked. Went straight into into his own little area in the room. And my daughter went in there. I guess he got ready. He got dressed up. My daughter went in there, and she came back out and she told us that he had long scratches on his legs. They were green, blue, black, all dirty. Scratches on his back, his arms. And he was talking to himself, like, Bible verses and all that. It took him a while, I guess, to calm down. And he just told my daughter, "I want to go home. I want to go home." She asked him if he wanted to go to the hospital. For 3 days, we tried, hey, you need to go to the hospital. You need to go to the hospital. And he didn't want to. Let's just say he lost it. He lost his mind. All of a sudden, my husband came back and he said the police took him. he was trying to break into someone's car, which I don't know what happened, but the officers took him with no charges. They didn't charge him when they took him. He had no probable cause. And the next day I tried calling all that night, nothing. Next morning I went over there and they told me, oh, we don't have anything on him. Well, why you guys have him? All of a sudden, 30 minutes, 40 minutes later, oh, we're charging him for attempted kidnapping. I said, before you took him, you should have at least have charged him with something, but you had to wait 24 hours to charge him. So basically, he was in jail for 3 months. 3 months, no bond. I sat at that police station every single day asking for answers. Why is he in there? Why is he in there? Why is he in there? Why is there no bond? He doesn't have family here. I'm the only family he knows. And he tried telling them, hey, this is what happened. This is what happened. Nobody believed him. He didn't even tell us what happened to him. Just when we got that letter, he wrote everything down, and that's what got me very upset. If I would have known, I would have tried harder to get him out the day after they took him, instead of me just sitting there, hey, you know what's going on? And that's what got me really upset. Like, this is a child that you guys took advantage of. That's the way I felt. It was like my child was taken advantage of. And to this day, I'm still mad. I'm still mad about it. I mean, it's like an eye for an eye. Hey, you know what? You come into my yard, guess what's going to happen? You took something from my son, and I'm going to take something from you. That's the way I feel. Because you know how mama bears are. You're a mother, and something hurts your child, somebody hurts your child, that's going to be it. That's the way I feel. That's really exactly how I feel.
Tracker B, he's also spent a great time in and out of the mental health facility since then as well, too, right?
Yes.
And just in general, we won't put you through having to read that letter again, but in general, will you please recap the letter?
I don't know if I can.
Okay.
I'm just very upset because, I'm still.
No problem. It's not a problem.
Yeah, we've all heard
Not a
it.
problem.
Yeah,
And anybody to hear that isn't here can go back and listen to when you read it.
No, let's not
There
worry
was a
about it.
second. Okay.
Don't worry about it. Comments. Shouldn't even been on.
Okay. Is there anything else that you want to say, Bernice, while we're in open floor and before any voting goes on?
Yeah, we got you just for this certain time, so.
Okay. Yeah, just
We want to make sure
anybody who says, oh, it's okay, go into the woods. Oh, there's nothing to be afraid of. Oh, I leave things for these things. Oh, they're friendly beings. They're this, they're that. They're not going to harm you. They're not going to take you. No, that's not true. They will take you. They will take advantage of you. They will eat you. And you won't see your family again. It's all lies that they're feeding you. These things are predators. These things can eat you. They can harm you. They can take advantage of you. They will kill you. They will harass you also. I had fingerprints on my door. Big palm prints. Nobody has big palm prints like that at my house. There's big latches on my door. And when we moved in, I was saying, why are these big latches here? And maybe they harassed the people that lived in my house too. I don't know.
They tried to lure your daughter or granddaughter?
Yes, they tried to lure my daughter to the back of the house. My granddaughter plays outside, and she was pointing to the back one time until my 12-year-old ran out there, got her, and took her back into the house. And it's crazy. It mimicked my husband, I guess, his voice, because my daughter came running back in and said, "Mom, I heard Dad's voice outside." He said, "Come here." And when I went around, I didn't see the car there. The car wasn't parked outside. And I knew it wasn't Dad because I was thinking Dad's still at work. So she ran back in and she was like, "I thought I heard Dad's voice that he told me come here. Dad, the car's not outside. Dad's not home." I told her, "I told you to stay inside." So these things can mimic babies. They can mimic voices. They'll chatter like clicking sounds. My husband heard it before. They'll be whistling. My daughter heard a whistle in the woods. They went to Toledo Bend. She went with one of her friends. And as they were walking, I guess, on a path, my daughter told me, "Mom, I know we're not supposed to go out there, but it was at a resort. It was at a really nice resort. We were walking. It was like a hiking trail. Got dark. I heard a whistle on my right side, and then I heard a whistle on my left side. Then I heard walking on my right side. There was two of them. That right side stopped, and the left side kept following us. So they're everywhere. They're not just. It's not going to be just one. It's going to be several.
And missing people in your area?
We had 2 missing boys, I believe, for 3 days. And they didn't really mention anything about it, but it just showed in the on the internet that they were one was found first, and then a couple of hours later it said second boy was located. So they're not really talking about it like the Sabine, news or the little website that they have. It just stated that they were found, but at different times.
Okay. Do you any of these questions?
And some other questions we have for open floor, and this is for everybody. Does your tribe know the origins of the Bigfoot? We're trying to see if all the tribes know the origins of the Bigfoot, and also the DNA of the Bigfoot, if the tribes know what the DNA of the Bigfoot is. And there was another question.
And
does your tribe have any missing people? Like here in Oklahoma, we have in the past missing people. We've had altercations with the predator Bigfoots. We have some missing people now in this area. Some of our other trackers are keeping up with that, but they're gone right now. But we have had in the past, the Choctaw people has had altercations with these creatures. And I found this on the internet. I just wanted to show real fast. This is what the Choctaw, this is what's on the Choctaw as far as what some of the tribal members put out. It's called the Champay here, but it has different names. Means black death, big hairy stink monkey man, big hairy stink raccoon man, darkness, and also death. Some of the names that we have for it. It says the Champagne is a malevolent ogre. It's kind of small, like monster of Choctaw lore. In some legends, he attempts to abduct Choctaw women and others, meaning children. And it also says that he is a man eater. It's sometimes described as a giant, or other times is a large, hairy man, leading some people to associate him with the Bigfoot legend. His most salient feature is his smell. A champagne smell is so overpowering that a person cannot bear to be around him, making him difficult to fight. And the part that we wanted to share on that part was that we have had altercations as Choctaw people, and we've had Bigfoot wars, is what they call them. They did take, and they still do take people and children. That last big story about the Bigfoot wars was that they had been taking children, and we had to track them down. The trackers, the tracking people, not just regular Indians, but they had to track them down. They had a big altercation, had to kill some, but the children weren't recovered because of it. There's also another article about the Choctaw, and but it's basically saying the same thing, that it stalks people in the forest. The smell, of course, but also the Choctaw people, they only had a certain amount of information at that time, even though this information was told to keep us aware and to protect us. That's all the information that they had at that time. They didn't know about the translucency or the portals. A lot of the tribes weren't ceremonial, and if you're not a ceremonial tribal member, you don't really get into little people or Bigfoots, or the cryptid thinking. You're more of the wanting to be with the administration or the tribal societies. So all this information is not getting to all of us, and some of the information doesn't even get to us because our grandparents are trying to protect us. So they tell us in different ways to not be out in the woods. But that's what the Choctaw and how we still are today. We have the Bigfoots. We have structures and blinds in our backyard. We have them across the street. Our neighbors don't know what's going on. Our neighbors over here don't know what's going on. They're surrounded. Their dogs, everything is going off every night. Our area is more protected because we have been using our deterrences. We have been letting them know not to be in our areas. We track our area. We walk our grounds. We let them know that we do look after our territory and that we notice things whenever they're out of place. And we let them know. Sometimes we'll shoot some trees that they broke with some slugs so that it goes through the wood, so that they see that what we're shooting goes through these thick woods. But we have them here, and we're doing all the deterrence that we can. We have neighbors, other tribal members who count on us. We have to go help them. They have worse problems, and they're more. There's a lot of females in the surrounding area. Not too many males are over there. I think only 2 out of all the women who are over in that area, and they get harassed every night, knocking on the windows, stones, whistles, calls at night. And that's what's going on here.
Pets missing.
Pets are missing. Pets are being killed, eaten. One other neighbor has 12 or had 12 horses. Last time we talked to him, he had 4 left. We need to go back and talk with him again. And I'm sure there's been more taken. But they're running out of food around here. So we've got a couple missing people right now that some of the other trackers are trying to keep up with. That's what's happening here right now.
Next, we will go to War Chief. In your area, is there anything you would like to add for open floor? And in your area, are there any missing people, or is there anything you want to add?
Yes, back in the latter part of May of 2023, a gentleman over in Spring, Texas, which is east of me about 20 miles, he had walked outside early in the morning just before sunup into his backyard. There's a green belt back there, and on the other side of the green belt is forest, part of the Sam Houston National Forest. And he didn't come back in. And he was missing for 10 days. They looked for him for 4 days. Many people had the dogs. They had helicopters, many people out there looking for him for like 4 or 5 days. And never found him. He was, after 10 days, he was walking in the woodlands up in the middle median on a four-lane road back there. And a cop, Montgomery County Sheriff, found him walking, or he hid from him. He wasn't wanting the cop to see him. He was very disheveled, didn't have his shirt on, had his shorts on, but one of his shoes was gone, a sock was gone. And anyways, he got him at, that was after 10 days. And last I heard, he went to the county sheriff's mental health facility there in Montgomery County, and I haven't heard anything else. They hadn't brought anything else out in the paper. So, but I'm going to try to find out what I can on that. And that's about it on as far as missing people go. I have had some activity around my house here last night. Something ran across the top of my patio room when I was letting my German Shepherd out to go to the restroom at about 10 o'clock. And my security didn't pick up anything, my security system. So it had to be in a translucent stage for it to not pick whatever it was up. Even if it had been a large cat or whatever. But it didn't pick me. I looked this morning on all three skylights on top of the patio room. There was skid marks, kind of like something it skidded back off the patio room. It was about 3 inches wide. But it was too heavy to be a raccoon or a cat or, whatever like that. It was too big for something like that. It startled me. And my German Shepherd, she barked and came right back in the door. I waited about 15, 20 minutes, and finally she was able to go out, but she didn't get far from the patio room to do her thing, and she come right back in. So, but she was very scared. And, I hadn't heard that at the house here before. But about 3 days before, we had 200 or 300 or 400, I don't know, ravens fly over towards Lucy Bow Creek that runs into the north end of Lake Houston back over here. And I've been noticing about the last 2 or 3 weeks that there's been 2 Army troop transport helicopters fly down close to our area here and flying north towards Cleveland, Texas. And I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. But, and I've heard some loud knocks. It seemed like they might be 3/4 of a mile north of us out here when I was down by Lucy Bow on the bridge. But I hadn't been back down there in the last couple of weeks. So that's about it right now. But I know the Sam Houston National Forest is chock full of it, of a lot of Bigfoot, and they're not friendly out there. They like to throw trees, not just limbs, but whole half trees at people. So, and there's been people that's been killed out there. I think a couple within the last 10 years. That's about it from my area that I know of.
Okay, thank you, Ward Chief. Bernice, we know that you're about to have to leave the room. Is there anything else you would like to say? And can we have your final vote on predator or not predator?
They're predators, definitely. Um, I guess I don't have anything else to say.
Okay. Well, we thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
We'll keep you in our prayers and your.
Thank you. Well, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go right now, so I had to clock back in. Good night, everyone.
We'll
Yeah,
talk to
thank you for your
soon.
time.
Very
You're
Good night,
much.
welcome.
Council B.
Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Next.
my vote on the whole thing is definitely predator. From my
Okay.
encounter in southeast Oklahoma,
So,
they're definitely predators.
something? I
That's all I can say on that right now.
Okay. Thank you. April, let's go to you. Do you have anything more for open floor or anything that you would like to say? And did you answer all three of those other questions? There's three questions. Does your tribe have any missing people? Does your tribe know the origins of Bigfoot? And does your tribe know the DNA of Bigfoot?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know the answer to the first two.
Okay.
I think my mom might. And for the DNA, I don't think that my band has actively researched into anything to do with Bigfoot, even though it's commonly known that there's Bigfoot down there on our reserve. Um, I do know of another. I do know of there's a friend of ours who is actively supporting a scientist to um, test the DNA of Bigfoot. They have it. They know him. Yeah, so that's all I know about that. And only thing I want to say is how sorry I feel. I feel so sorry for all of these horrible experiences. Like it just kind of. I was just talking to mom now about the. Um, I'm really thankful for her grandmother who was protecting, for people in her land, and that respect is still carrying on with the Bigfoots, I guess, because there's never been any harm or threat from Bigfoot, and I guess just like a mild curiosity, and we've always been taught how to treat them, like that they have to um, obey the word of the Lord, and we've always used that. I don't know.
Do you have any missing people or pets in your area?
What? I don't know. I didn't hear you.
Do you have any missing people or pets in your area?
Never. Never. And there's that one story about his name was Percy. He used to live on the reserve, and a lot of times he would live on the reserve and he'd be the only one. And he was out cutting wood, and he had like 12 or 13 dogs or something. And that's the only involvement I've ever heard of Bigfoot and the dogs. Just that they were scared of him and they ran away from him. Yeah,
Do you know where Highway 19 is?
what?
You know where Highway 19 is?
Oh yeah, Highway
I
19.
don't know.
Oh, it's supposed to be by Vancouver Island. There's some guy, well, not some guy, but a friend. They sent that there's a lot of missing
Tracking
people in BC.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well,
There's-
yeah, there are, and I've never related them to Bigfoot. Have you?
No, I was taught when I was young that we had power over these things, and we were never ever to talk to them or carry on a conversation with them. We were taught to come in before dark, and we were taught to not to leave offerings. Only if you're passing through their territory and you tell them, you don't ask them anything. You tell them why you're going through, and that's a gift for them as payment, and they leave you alone. And no one has ever gone missing from our tribe or this that I know of, and none of the animals have ever been hurt and or even taken away. Um, I've seen Sasquatch many times in my life, and I don't look at them with fear. I I don't have to, and I feel our elders taught us that fear was a weapon that they used against you. It wasn't in you naturally; it was put in there by them, and they used that as a weapon to keep you away from them. And they never ever raided my smokehouse. I've heard a lot of stories about that. And I found many gifts around my home, and I think they were left by them. There are very strange little things that were made out of wood and stuff and branches. And the odd thing that you can never find in that area, they'd leave things like that. And the first time, I can't say I saw it, I can say I felt it. It was near, and I knew what it was because I know what a cougar feels like. I know what a bear feels like, when it's in the woods. They have their own special feeling, and our elders taught us to use the name of Jesus against them. And before even people knew about Jesus, they used the Creator, and they taught us that the Creator made them first, and they were here, and that they're spiritual beings, and that they could do whatever they wanted. They can move anywhere they want unless they're told not to in the name of Jesus. And I had one looking in my bathroom window one time. It was a frosted glass, but there was nothing out there, and my window was about 15 feet up. So either he was a very big one, or he's acting like a spirit, because they can appear and disappear anywhere they want to. And spirits are forever. Our elders taught us spirits are forever. And so they know us better than we do. And I'm sure they know the Word of God better than we do. And so does Satan. So I imagine that's who they are. Since I read my Bible, I've realized that I feel that they may be something close to Nephilim. Somebody said to me once that, well, how could they have survived? Because Noah's flood, it says everything was killed. And I told her it's because they're a spiritual being. You can't kill it. Spirits are forever. That's my elders taught me that. So I don't know what else to say. I feel really, really sorry and really bad for the people who are losing their families and losing their animals, because people get so attached to them. And it's really frightening when you think about it. And I have my prayers out for everybody that I heard their stories, asking our great Creator and our God and our protector and our provider to take care of them. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. Those are the teachings of my grandmother, and she was very spiritual, and she really believed in God, and she taught me that. And there's many of our traditional ways that completely, absolutely are the same thing as what they teach in the Bible. We do our ritual bathing, and it's like baptism. We care about our food the way it's taught in the Bible, and many things. many things are like that. How you raise a family, you know. And like I said, I pray for all of you, all of those who are listening and had terrible incidences out there. Thank you.
Yeah, still on the floor. I was going to ask also that you said that they made the Bigfoot first. Was that from the Bible? Because we don't see that as far as them having to have our structure. They have to eat us or have our DNA. Which I mean, they get their DNA through blood, semen, or a woman's milk. But eating us, they can transfer that DNA. But and I've heard another reservation say that too, out of Mississippi. They said um, that they were made before us, but we asked them where they got the information, and they couldn't tell us. So I mean, it's not in the Bible, and also that we don't have to rebuke God's creations, God's good things. We don't have to rebuke them. They're amongst us, walk around us, but many times people have had to rebuke these Bigfoots just to survive. And we've got a lot of stories and other trackers who survived by calling on the name of Jesus. But we don't need to call on the name of Jesus when they're good things and good people, because we don't fear them. They're not going to hurt us. But we've had people dragged down mountains and attacked and raped by these things. But it is true that the spirits are forever, and demonic entities can also travel in these Bigfoot vessels. And it didn't say that they were all killed. It said that if in Noah's, it said before and after.
As in the days of Noah
And
after that.
And also after. So it didn't kill them all. And you don't kill a water spirit with water. So of course they're going to be there with the pigs that went into the water. Those spirits went into the water, water spirits, water animals. So it wasn't going to kill those either. It was designed for the Nephilim, I mean the fallen angels, Nephilim. But it also says and after.
There's
So
been more than one incursion.
yeah, so it's happened more than once as far as the regeneration or the re-immersion of these predators. But yeah, we're looking for the origins. In our origins, we talk about the spider DNA coming into the earth DNA. And the spider, we're talking about a giant cosmic spider that began to eat things here and lay eggs. And when the spider lays eggs, whatever it eats, that DNA is produced in that young one, or that spiderling, which is like a bell spider, bird spider, wolf spider, jumping spider, all these different kind of spiders that live in the ocean, live in everywhere really. But for our origins, that the spider came here and it started eating things, man, animals, and it started laying eggs and leaving different kind of hybrid creatures. And the Bigfoot was produced from this when it ate man. And then our man DNA got in there. And in our history, it says that it was not formed to look like a man in the beginning. It was kind of flat at the beginning. The more things it ate and the more men that it ate, it started to take our form. It started to stand and become like us. And the hair on the Bigfoot is spider hair. And if you look at the appendages, you're going to see that these are different size appendages. And that the head stays on the neck like a spider, because the spider is a arthropod, which is two pieces. So the head has to stay with the neck to be like that. And so this is the stories that are passed through our people, and it's also in the new book. It has all of the abilities because it has all the DNAs of all of the animals. It has the the serpent, and this is also on the Egyptian Dendra zodiac and the Aztec sunstone. It has the spider DNA, the serpent DNA, man's DNA, bird DNA, fish DNA, dog DNA, and well, of course, the predator. But that's all mixed into the Bigfoot plus man's DNA. It's not a man, it's using our DNA to be a better predator, to look more like us, to get closer to us. In our history, it's a spider that has taken the form of man, just like a Wendigo, just like these are all hybrid creatures of the same predator. So the predator DNA is in there. If without the predator DNA, it wouldn't be there. But the spider's binding DNA, it binds DNAs together. If the spiders, whenever they eat, they bind that DNA to produce another one. The same thing with the Bigfoot. It could eat a person, it could eat a wolf, it could eat a moth or a bird, and it would come out like a mothman or like a moth wolf looking creature.
In future generations.
And it can also have hooves. It depends on what it eats. That DNA, so it'll have a hooved Bigfoot with wings or like a mothman. But everything that it eats, it's going to change. It's going to change. It's never going to have a perfect twin Bigfoot. It's going to have, this one's going to be different than this one because it's going through multiple DNAs at one time. So this is going to produce a bird kind. This is going to produce more of a fish kind. If they're eating more fish, if they're eating more fowl, they're going to be in the water. So this is where we call them water spirits, because they'll be translucent and they'll be hiding in the water or underneath the dark areas, underneath the banks, or they'll have embankment blinds there. And that's how they hunt in those areas. And so that's the origin for the Choctaws, and that story's been passed so that we know what we're dealing with. And once we look at everything about the Bigfoot from the mid-tarsal break, that's a spider binding between the animal and the man. So you're always going to have that. Also in their hands, they're going to have that mid-tarsal break. Their hair's hollow like the spider. And if you look in history, the spider origins go back to the oldest teachings. I think you're on mute there.
All of that, it sounds like my mom was asked. Yeah, my mom was asked to tell stories about Bigfoot in some schools, and she was like really hesitant about how what I'm looking for, how damaging it could be, like it would make them scared or something. And I was just telling mom like, it's a lot more scarier than your story. Wow, that's terrifying.
It
Like,
is.
The Choctaw and the Kiowa and a lot of other tribes, they call it, well, we call it the arrival of evil. It has a bite like fire, and it is a cannibal, is what we have passed down so that we're all aware of it. And it does have a bite like fire. It does have a paralyzing bite. It can make you sick. It's got poison in its bite, just like the spider. But
Yeah, we were taught not to speak to them, and so that's the biggest thing. It seems to be their weapon. They want to talk to you, whether they talk in your brain or they talk out loud. They can mimic anything. Obviously, they're spirits. They've been here for like millions of years, so they can imitate anything and they can speak any language. So obviously, all over the world, they see these things, and that's why they're so highly intelligent, I guess. They've been here longer than we have, and from what I understand, they were cast out of heaven, and they had relations with women, and they had children. I imagine that they were part human and part spirit, and we had our own spirit as well. That's the only thing I can think of is that's how they survived Noah's flood, and that's how they survived many other things. And somebody was telling a story the other day about how the world has started over many times. I think the Bible mentions 3. I don't think he said to Noah, go repopulate for no reason. There must have been people there before, so go repopulate. And he also told Adam and Eve to repopulate. So I imagine the world has started over many times. Those things have always been here. And from what I was taught by my elders, they're very ancient and they're evil, and you're supposed to deal with them like they're evil. And so I imagine they're God's creation too.
I was gonna say for the flood, that was because they were eating, raping, killing, everything. The entire world was like that. It had to be done.
Yep.
We also had a person kind of blame God for that, but that was it's like the only way to try to get it taken care of at one time. But these things also survived after that. Even the demonic entity can still transfer. People can be possessed. Animals can be possessed. So these things, of course, have been here before time. The demonic entities, but also us. On the 6th day, we showed up. So, but we didn't see anything about where the Bigfoot was created by God. But we do see where the spider came into the effect and started eating and mixing things. And we're talking about a giant spider. We're not talking about spiders that we think about. We're talking the size of planets and mountains coming in. And at that time, from Africa to China, there was catastrophes happening. And that's why they have almost sand over there. They don't really have grass over there because the ocean flooded that side of the world more than it did this side. And we have green grass and everything over there. They have seawater. You can't drink the seawater. But here we have fresh water. So it happened over there. And these things came over from there to where we would call the United States now. So it was like a migration that they followed food. And these are all the stories that we have that they showed up following the animals, and it was called the arrival of evil. And then we went from guardians and caregivers to protectors and also for guardians too.
I think they're all on Bigfoot.
But that's the origins that we know, and it's also on the Egyptian digital zodiac. It's also on the Aztec sunstone. It's in our stories. And if you look up the spider, you're going to see that it carries all the way back before the dinosaur age. And but we were also here since the 6 days. We've always been here. So okay.
Well, I would like to ask Gina. Gina, if you for your vote of predator or non-predator.
Well, in our area where I come from, I've never heard of anyone going missing around my area. Pardon?
Would you be
Feedback.
I don't understand what's going on.
The interruption was just a loop of feedback of sound.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm really ignorant about all of this stuff, right? I don't know how to turn the computer on, so yeah, I always have to be my daughter. Yeah, I don't. From hearing everybody's story, yes, I would have to say they're predators, but I'm saying that we know how to protect ourselves from it. So yeah.
Here's Highway 19. It's the main highway that we go from Fort Burns and Nanaimo up to that's what Highway 19 is.
Yeah, if you go across the island, that's where we live, across Vancouver Island, and there's many stories from all the different tribes. When people drive on the logging roads, they get home, they walk in, and they say to everybody else, "Oh, I saw Sasquatch." That's all it is. They all know how to do that, protect themselves from it, and it's not our people that are going missing. We've been taught since we were children. We have I don't know if you have time to hear me, but we have a story. It seems to be quite common throughout the world about. I'll say that I stayed out late one night. I was really enjoying myself. I was playing with bumblebees, and my mom called for me, and I didn't want to go in, so I stayed there, and it got dark, and then I got too scared to move. So my brother came out and scared the heck out of me because where I was really dark, and I thought that it was Sasquatch coming to get me, because the story is that if you stay out late at night, the Sasquatch will get you, and he'll put you into his bag on his back, and he'll take you to his longhouse, and he'll cook you and eat you. And that's the story that we got to make us behave. And they always told us when we got older that they will never ever hurt you when you deal with it this way, and that's how they taught us. Yeah.
The reason I was talking about 19 is because Fern posted a report of a missing woman from right there, Highway 19 by the Bay Hudson Logging Road, Highway 19. She's missing right now, and there were some more reports in that area of missing people, and Bob was getting that for us. That's why I was asking if y'all knew about all these missing people in that area. That woman today.
I guess what I'm saying, it's never native people.
Oh, okay.
There is like a group of men,
Yes.
and they're like white men, and they're taking our women, murdering them, but that's not Bigfoot.
Okay.
Yeah, there's been several of those cases here all over BC.
You're
They
up by
call
the
it
Highway of Tears, right?
Pardon?
Are y'all by the Highway of Tears?
No, but that's on the mainland, right?
Yeah.
And there's been women gone missing on the island too, native women. They've been witnessed as being taken into a van by white men.
Yeah. There's a lot of kidnapping going on up there.
Yeah, there is.
And a lot of the RCMP are also involved in that. When I was up north, we got reports of some RCMP officers getting arrested for that. But it goes further than that, through the political field and everything. Starlight tours and all that. So Gina?
Oh, yes, so Gina's.
I mean,
April.
April.
We have in April, your vote is predator, not predator.
Predator. I'm like, if we have to protect ourselves against it, it's definitely a predator.
Yeah.
Exactly. We have a message from Holly and Jazzy. They had a medical emergency in their family, but they say that as far as Bigfoot goes, I asked Mom if she thinks a Bigfoot is predator or not, and she said quickly that yes, Bigfoot is definitely a predator. And for my individual vote, I also say yes, Bigfoot is a predator. And then that's all as far in regards to this question. So that's their vote is also predator.
What about Fred?
Fred did not get in the room, but we do know for a fact that Fred said over and over and over that they are predators, and he's from Alaska. And we also would like to add, Jasmine. Well, Fern is not here to answer, but because of her enthusiasm for the knowledge that she's gained, go ahead.
And the information.
Did you want to say something, April?
Oh no.
Okay. Oh, that she was
because of the knowledge she's gained from our
I'm
book.
just putting lotion on my hand. Sorry.
Oh.
With conversations with her, we feel secure in saying that Fern would also say they are predators. Fred, predator, so that's right down the board. And there are, well, the one guest that didn't show up tonight, we were going to ask her. She's in North Dakota. She's is currently getting help from Bob, who's up close to you ladies, because she can't find anyone to help her or listen to her, and she's an elderly woman who is currently being stalked by these predators, and so she would definitely say predator. And she also Navajo?
Dakota.
She's Dakota. So that's Lakota, and she's in North Dakota, I believe. And then Jerry.
April.
Oh yes, and then we also have Tracker A didn't join us for these meetings, but she is one of our trackers, and she is Choctaw, Alabama Choctaw. She's actually, her family has been attacked by one of these, and she had to handle the situation, followed by, just followed by extreme harassment from authorities. He would vote 100% predator. And then we also have, and so she is in Alabama, so we have the East covered also. And then the person that we gave a tribute to the other night, Harper Yellowhawk Faulkner, who is also Cherokee and Choctaw and a veteran.
Not a Georgia area.
In Georgia, he's crossed over recently. He was one of our tracker in our tracker training course, and his final wish for us, his final request of us when we went to visit him, was that he had us promise that we would do our best to teach his children and grandchildren of the danger of these things. His land was very thick with sign and the predators there, and he was extremely concerned that they know what's out there and what's coming, and so he would definitely vote predator. So straight down the line.
So Fred is here. Fred, you're actually right at the moment.
Fred.
You're right here at the moment where we're voting if the predator Bigfoot tribe is predator or a non-predator.
All right. First, let me apologize for being late. I tried to text you earlier to get the timing right, and I sincerely apologize to everyone there. Sincerely. Well, my vote is definitely a predator, and that's from my own experience and from the oral history we were taught as kids, being they will snatch you and eat you.
So are dogs, cats.
I apologize that I missed. Gosh, you guys are already an hour and a half in. Man, I feel like a mook. Please forgive me.
You showed up at the right time.
Got here at the perfect time. You'd already given your story.
Everyone here knows.
More story from Tracker B, who
Okay.
wasn't here the night you were here. It's good you arrived just in the nick
perfect
of time for the
perfect
voting.
timing.
So that's
okay.
perfect.
Well, first let me say hello to War Chief Tracker C, Miss April. Greetings, and of course, you know, when you told me last week what the question was going to be, I immediately smirked, because it's like, oh my God, it's one of those things to where, well, you guys know my story, and so I flash back to my Aunt Lucy standing there with a shotgun, and us kids are hiding under beds because one of these things are circling my grandma's old house near the end of the airport runway. And it makes me sick to my stomach to hear these fanciful stories about Bigfoot friends and forest friends. And I'm just being honest about my experience and what I've learned. And it's so hard to digest these people sharing these experiences about, like, you know, I'm gonna make fun of it, but like, you know, they're teaching them to weave baskets or something, you know what I mean? It's just so far removed from what I know to be so not true. Um, Even the one person I've spoken to that was saved by a female, I asked him, I was like, wow, that's amazing. I've never heard anything that is so non-aggressive. And I said, how'd you feel? He said, I felt like they're trying to get rid of me because of the search and rescue efforts in the area. They had helicopters, planes
There
all over the place. You know what I mean? It was like getting rid of the nuisance, getting rid of the hairless
Mhm.
one. And
yeah.
yeah, my vote is predator. That, and they're not my friends. Ain't,
Oh, no.
ain't my friends. I have gifts for them, but they are heavy caliber, high velocity, and that's just me. And I'll give them all they want, all they can eat, all the M&Ms they want.
Yeah.
Uh, I personally, I'm so biased. I have a hard time. I'm not saying those fanciful, pleasant interactions don't happen, but for me personally, forget it. I don't care if one came right now with a basket of berries and a peace offering. It it would not change my mind.
That sounds like
I'm
a
right
trap.
there with you on that one, Fred.
Yes, I would call that experienced.
Yeah, I would say experience.
Yeah,
Personal
because
experience.
I'm not gonna fall for the okey doke. I'm gonna aim between the eyes if I can.
Yeah.
But then again, I'm openly biased. However, as most of you guys know, if you follow my channel, I share everyone's experience in the oral tradition, as we all do when we hear these things. Um, and to me, I feel that's so important because I think I mentioned it before. We're losing our oral tradition. We're losing our elders at a fast clip. Just talking about it makes the hair on the back of my neck stand up from heartache. Uh, we're losing more knowledge than we're gaining when they pass away, and our young ones are not picking up that flag and marching forward. They're worried about their video games and bullshit in the world. And I did it myself. I turned my back on my culture. It makes me want to cry because of how much I didn't realize how important things were when they were happening versus trying to reconnect and re-grasp those things. So many elders are gone now that I can't. And if there's any youngsters listening, don't turn your back on your culture. Don't do it. Just don't, because you can never, especially for anyone from an oral tradition, you can't regain that. When you lose the stories that your grandma told you and you don't remember them, guess what? They're gone to history, man.
Yeah, they're done. Those
And,
ones.
and there's no way. There's no way to you can't recoup those. You can't make them up. If they're not authentic and organic, you cannot make them up. It's just impossible. I vote Predator, and I say F every single one of them and steer clear. That's me speaking. So
Thank you, Fred. And that really was beautifully put. Thank you.
Yeah, certainly was.
Hearing?
Okay, so since we don't have any news, the woman didn't show up. As far as the Choctaw people, I'm associated with Oklahoma Choctaw, Mississippi Band, Choctaw, the Gent Band of Choctaw, and we also vote predator. It's always been a predator in our society. That's why we have warrior societies. Um, and we used to be up in the mountains keeping watch over the tribes while everyone was down in the valley area. We had our areas up in the top of the mountain, so we don't have that anymore. So
right,
big
smart.
things.
Your tribe took the high ground. They learned their lesson. You never relinquish the high ground.
Never.
I hear that. I hear you.
My mom wants
Yeah.
wants to say something.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just listening to you about the gifting and all that kind of thing. Yeah, I had several of those like around my home. Um, I used to have rocks thrown against my house and stones thrown at us when I'm out on the patio and stuff like that, right? And I would deal with it the way my elder said. And if I found any of those gifts, I would ask God to bless it and I'd burn it. And that's how I dealt with those. I just wanted you to know that because I never told you.
Okay, good. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Right. And
Um, go ahead.
yeah, sorry to interrupt, man. I feel bad. I didn't realize last week it was starting at 7 or something, and I wasn't able to because of family stuff. I didn't realize you guys had started over an hour
Well,
ago. I
here's the
feel bad
thing.
about that.
If everyone wants to, uh, there's a Lakota woman who's trying to get here. We just got a message says, Jerry, I'm talking to Stephanie now. She forgot the time. I think she is coming. So if y'all do have a little bit more time, we'll give her a little time because we want to ask her the same questions that we all got asked, and she wants to explain about what's happening with her right now. And we have a room
Yeah.
full of experienced people.
And
But
what I also would like to thank each and every one of you for is I'm a Chugyoung Tribal Council member from Bristol Bay. I want to thank each and every one of you for standing on business, so to speak, standing on the native traditional ways and being a part of this. It's being lost. It's being lost, and it hurts my soul to a certain degree because we obviously understand because we're here talking right now, but so many of our kinfolk and so many other people, they're 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 letting it fall to the wayside for modern times. And you know what? That I I I have a little bit of self-disgust because I allowed that for quite a while, chasing after the Gusuk way, so to speak. You know, you can never chase a Gusuk and find your tradition. You know, you just can't do that. You're gonna have to listen to your elders, and sometimes even when you don't want to hear it, you need to shut the hell up and listen to what's being said, you know. That's why you're given two ears and only one mouth, right? You got the two ears to listen and just the one mouth to keep quiet while the elder is speaking. And so again, I'm gonna say it again. I can't reiterate it enough. The youngsters that may come across this, shut your mouth and quit being disrespectful and listen to the elders when they're speaking, you know. And don't disrespect an elder in my presence, because then you're going to be dealing with Fred John Roll from Bristol Bay, and I ain't playing nicely with that bullshit, you know.
Well, we're trying to, so I guess we can still be an open floor just to give Stephanie a few more
yeah, if
minutes to get.
there's
We
any
really want to be
questions
able
anybody
to,
has.
to help her. This is the woman that's in North Dakota that's currently being harassed. And
But I also wanted to say, Fred, that shack that you went to and that boating where you docked your boat, those were ambush areas. They knew if you had that shack out there before, they knew you was coming back.
Yeah, it was our first time there, but again, we were lured out. We didn't
Yeah.
reckon it. That's 2020 hindsight. You know, when that one leaned against it to make the place creak, we thought it was a bear. We went out to chase off a bear. The only thing I think saved us was seeing the three sets of ice shine off in the distance, and we went right back inside. And I think another thing that changed the dynamic of that is my crazy ass. I shot through the wall immediately after making eye contact with this thing because there was no mind speak. There was no, it was all in the energy and the way it looked at me. I was food. And no one can ever convince me of otherwise. I know what food feels like now, and it's because of that instance. You know, there's no one that can convince me they were there for friendly purposes. You know what I mean? You don't lure your friends out to an ambush. You don't lure your friends out under, you know, a false pretense of any kind. And the people I talk to up here, you don't fear for your life when your friends are over there in the woods. You just don't, you know. And that's what I got to say about that, man. You know, not my friends, not mine. You know.
Mom's in love with you, Fred. She loves your values.
Oh, I love her too. Tell her thank you.
Okay.
Fred and Gina and April, do you guys have our book?
No, but we will pick it up for
I
sure.
do. Yeah, I have that on my coffee table at home, brother.
Do you really? All right.
Gina and
No,
April,
I got that right next to my chair. Yeah, the
you.
Predator Bigfoot. Yeah,
Okay.
yep, I have them.
definitely pick it up. Yeah.
We want
Make sure each one of you
Gina
has
and
it.
April, we're going to gift y'all one of these
Oh my
books.
goodness. Thank
Also,
you.
Fred, we're going to also gift you one, but we want to sign it and autograph it for you.
And then you can give the
You can
someone
give
that
the other
needs
one
it.
to someone else.
Oh,
I'll
thank
happily
you.
accept it, brother. I thank you guys. You know, it really means a lot that you reached out to me and you recognized what I was talking about, what I'm trying to do, because you guys, all of you share the same values. That's it's not common in this day and age, brother. It's
Fred, I want to
shameful.
ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
How many years have you lived with PTSD over your encounter up there? That shack.
Almost 20. 17 and a half
Mine's
years now.
been 48 years.
Okay.
I've had
Yeah.
PTSD with 48 years from mine.
Yeah.
I did want to share a story, but it's not about Bigfoot. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, it's not about Bigfoot. It's about
Well,
UFOs.
please share. Please
Okay.
share.
My sister, she had separated from her husband who lived in Ukiwit, which is about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from Pearl Burney, where I live. And she always stayed there after to make sure they were settled in before she would leave. And I would have to drive home alone, and I hated it because the road was so isolated. Like, it's not very many people travel it. It's just a really windy road, and a lot of Bigfoot sightings on that road too. We were when we were going down, like I was getting promises off of my sister, like, no, we're just gonna drop them off and we're gonna leave. And as soon as she dropped them off, she was just saying, I can't leave them without settling them in. And then I ended up driving home alone, and a lot of the locals there know that road like the back of their hand. So, like, I'm like a tourist. I only go down there whenever my sister asked me to. And there was some people behind me, or one person behind me, and he was like right on my ass, like right on my butt, going the same way, right? Like, and we kind of noticed this light up on the mountain, and I thought, oh, they're night logging, because my dad was a logger at one point. And it started to move, and it looked like it was like on an interception, like it was going to intercept our path. And I started keeping an eye on this, and there was like a lot of S turns in the road, and it started getting closer, and I was starting to freak out. And I noticed the guy behind me starting to slow down, and so I was thinking, okay, so he's aware of this too. And all of a sudden, like, it must have been about, I don't know, like maybe 10 car lengths away. I don't know distances too well. And all of a sudden our cars conked out. Like, he had a truck and I had a van, and they just stalled both at the same time. And I remember turning around looking, and the guy was like doing this, like, I don't know what's going on, right? And I just kept turning the key, and it started getting closer. And at this point, like, it's like almost after midnight, and he I could hear him trying to start his truck as well. And that thing got so close to us that it started lighting up the road, and it wasn't on the road yet. And I started crying out to Jesus because I was so scared. I was scared for my life. I was terrified of what was happening, and it 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 complete, like there was no center point to the lights, but it was lighting up the entire woods around it. And it, when I started praying out to God, it turned. I could see it turn towards the truck, and it enveloped the truck. And I could. It was so bright I couldn't even see the truck at some points. It was just so bright, and I could see him in there, and he was flailing around. And I just kind of like buried my head down, and I was just praying to God. And then my van started to turn, and then um, I just kept turning it and praying to God and praying to God and asking God to save me, asking Jesus to save me. And then I just turned, it just turned, and I floored it. And all I remember seeing when I looked back was him flailing around in the truck. And I just kept going, and I went straight to the police station, and I told them what happened. And I said, he needs help. And they just kind of like rolled their eyes and were like, yeah, okay, sure. We haven't heard anything. So, I think he's okay. But I've always from that point, like, not from, always from then, I've always wondered, like, because I feel like I abandoned a human life, and I feel so terrible about it. And I always think about him, and I just wonder, like, what happened. But, and I, I know it seems feeble, but every day, like for a long time, I would ask, like, did they find anything? Like, did they find a truck, or, like, is he okay? And they got kind of tired of me asking, and they're like, look, he obviously made it home, so he's okay. But yeah, that was my experience with the UFO on that road. Every time I go by
Yeah.
it, I know exactly where it was. I'm like, it's right there.
Well, you
Yeah,
did it
that's really
right.
creepy.
Yeah, you handled
Um,
it
right. You handled it the best way you could. Don't beat yourself up over something you can't control. That was out of your control. That was in the Lord's hands after that. Um, back in it was 1998. Me, my dad, and my cousin Jason, we were on our way up the Nushagak River to go moose hunting. And we had a couple days left in the season, and everyone had been so busy. That's the only time we had to go. And we ended up getting up there late, and the tide was coming out. We ended up getting stuck on a gravel bar in our skiff. And so it was me and my cousin Jason and my dad, and we had to wait for it to get light for to be able to see the channel, because it was so dark we couldn't see anything. And so we sat there in the dark, just bullshitting and doing nothing really. And after about an hour, there was a bright light up river, a couple bends, but it was so bright you could see it was coming down river. And we assumed it was someone with the spotlight spotlighting for moose. So we figured, okay, well, when they get down here, we'll ask them to spotlight the channel so we could at least get up into Black Bluff and Angel Bay and camp out overnight. So we sat there waiting and waiting, and it was drifting so slow, and it was just so bright. And just as this light was about to come into view, it disappeared. And it immediately, like in an instant, just down below us, just out of view, lit up below us and continued down. So we were all like, what the hell is that? Because there was no motor noise. So we figured they were drifting. But once it disappeared above us and reappeared below us in an instant, like as soon as it went out above us, it was lit up below us. So we turned around kind of like, what the hell? Well, my dad's a Vietnam vet, and he did, a few tours. So he wasn't big on guns. He was about getting our meat, but he wouldn't allow a loaded gun in the boat until we were actually actively hunting. And immediately he goes, load those up and give me one of them. And over the course of the rest of the night, we saw that same bright light above Black Bluff on the other side of Angel Bay, but that light always stayed just out of view. And that was just so creepy, because you what are you going to do, fire a gun at a light? You know what I mean? Like we had no real protection, so to speak. But it's some creepy stuff. You know what really bothers me is there's so many fellow natives I speak to up here that are in the trenches, so to speak, in the village, and they don't talk about things because of heavy superstition. We call it the hairy man because those are white words, the hairy man, because using the native words for them is a bad omen. It'll draw them in. It'll bring, a bad omen on the family. You'll have a bad fishing season, or maybe someone will get, will die somehow, or that, just bad connotations to it. And it bothers me that things aren't taken more seriously in the mainstream. Because there's a lot of visitors to my state that go out there just blindly, I guess ignorance is bliss to a certain extent, but there's literally villages as we speak where these things are actively harassing people on the fringes of the village. Just last year, there's reports of them stealing all the smoked fish in the smokehouse that this elder had the younger ones set up in the smokehouse, so they were set and it just all gone, and they had to reacquire through other people gifting and stuff, so they can make it through the winter. But no one will ever hear these stories because of that closed off, that superstitious thing. They didn't want to speak the name. They didn't want anything to come back, you know. They didn't want nothing to come back or potentially put them in danger. And there's so much of that goes on, and I'm assuming it happens with y'all too, uh, to maybe more or less of a degree, but I have a strong suspicion that it happens all over. And yet, when natives speak up, we're the first ones to be ridiculed by the powers that be, the Gusucks, whoever, as being, oh, that's folklore, that's fanciful talk, that's mythology. Well, in my opinion, how in the hell is it mythology when we've been saying the same shit for thousands of years? How is that? Anyway, forgive my cursing. I'm not trying to disrespect the panel. I'm just saying, how in the hell are they going to claim it's fanciful or mythological when this oral tradition sounds like some feedback? Is that me?
Oh, sorry, that was me. That's my mic, I think.
Oh, okay. So, as an example, I may have mentioned it before, but Cambridge, Harvard was established in 1692. Good for them. My oral tradition goes back a millennia before that. So, I'm always going to follow what my elders told me. I'll put far more weight into what a native elder tells me versus anyone in academia ever. There's nothing they can tell me that I can't learn better on my own from an elder. You know what I mean? That's just my personal opinion, my personal standpoint. You know, there's so
Jerry,
much going on, and
you
it's
have,
getting dismissed.
Mhm.
Jerry
Yeah,
has an Alaskan village story as well.
I'll tell it just real quick, but I was up north and around the New York area with the Mohawks, and we were having a missing and murdered kind of meeting. And this one guy from Alaska was in visiting. He was from that reservation, but he was working as a ranger over there, or game ranger, some kind of authoritative figure out there. So he's in the meeting with us, and we're talking about patterns and things like that. And he says, "Well, I need to tell y'all something about the missing people." But he hesitated. He goes, "Well, I can't say really." And so we said, "Okay." We just left it at that. We continued, and he interrupted again and said, "Well, I'm going to have to tell you." He goes, "I don't work for them anymore, but when I worked for them," and he worked in Alaska, he said, "I got a call that there was a missing village." And he said he didn't understand that. He said, so him and this other guy they got the call, so they were supposed to go out there and search the area and see what was going on. They went out there, and the entire village was gone. There was no one in that area. And so he's talking to us, and And I said, that was during the first snow or the first frost, wasn't it? And he said, yeah. And I said, that's not the only village, is it? And he said, no. So there's other villages in Alaska, complete villages that were taken and still are. That was, he went back to work there. So it's within 10 years that this village has disappeared, that he's been on himself.
Right.
And
Yeah.
but they do first frost, first snow, they gather food. So they can go in and not be tracked because there's no prints out because they stored their food.
Yeah. And you know, I'm glad you brought that up because I try not to. I don't want to scare anybody. I don't want them to think that, you know, there's a hairy man behind every tree. But like you just pointed out, there is literally several villages that are now defunct. They're no longer in existence because of just such things. And a lot of people would be like, oh, well, they dispersed to other villages. Well, why is it when they went to those places, all their belongings were still there? You know, us Indians, we got to bring our stuff, you know, we got to have our stuff with us. We're just not in the middle of, excuse me, in the middle of the winter going to go and recoup all these things and make a new whatever or try to stitch up some fur. No, it's aggravating because they're dismissed. It's for me and what I do, it's public safety. And you know, I don't care who believes anything. It's irrelevant because what some outsider believes has no impact on the truth of what's happening. And it's a matter of public safety because of the story you just shared, the many that are shared on my channel. Um, not our friends, not mine. And there's 500 to 2,000 people missing every year in a state with 780 some thousand throughout the whole state, but yet there's no outcry on that. There's no big news briefs about it. Oh, hey, there's something going on in Alaska. People are missing. Well, they're not reporting it. And when you go and look up these missing person cases, they got their alibi, man. They got their out. It's called a missing person bulletin. It's an open investigation, and they give you nothing other than where they were last seen, what they were wearing, general direction they were heading. There's no context. You can't. What are you going to do with that? You know, there's nothing you can do. You can't
Check
get
the
any
missing
information on it.
list. They need to check the missing presumed dead list also.
Yeah, the presumed dead. That's a big list. If people look, they're going to see a lot of names, but the missing, they only have a couple out there. And they'll say, well, we're still looking for them. But that presumed dead list is just packed.
Right. Yeah, it's sickening because it's just dismissed, swept under the rug. You won't hear about that on MSNBC or Fox News. They don't give a shit. You know, they won't they don't want the real deal. They just want to push their agenda, you know. They don't want to hear what's really happening and what's impacting Native peoples anywhere in the country. They never have cared, you know. And all these programs they say that are pro-Indian or this and that, it's just another form of control. Sign up here so we can make you more dependent on us over here. You know, oh, you'll be all good. You know, it's just it's sick. You know, it's really sick. Um, yeah, man.
And we was discussing how a lot of information don't get to a lot of the reservations because the state departments are surrounding the reservations. If you come off that reservation, you get roadblocks, you get harassed, you get other things done and to be put back on there. So a lot of that information is not getting out because they're surrounded. And I've been on reservations like that where if you come off of it, you got a highway patrol, you got an RCMP there, you've got state troops.
Yeah. And you got different forms of BLM or BIA or whatever governmental Indian department they wish to throw at you, and then they're gonna claim jurisdiction. Well, in my opinion, brother, you're on my land, you know. So
Yeah.
if anything, you need jurisdiction from me and permission from me to even be here in general. But you know that's it's a bit inflammatory considering, but that's just my opinion. If we were back a couple hundred years ago, I would I believe I would be on a raiding party, and I would be scalping any gussuck I came across that was anywhere near anything of mine that I loved. And that's and I'm speaking from now, knowing what I know now. If I lived back then, there's no way I would allow any educational system to come and corrupt my people, no religious system to come and corrupt my people. You know, my dad told me stories of these missionary nuns that are supposed to be so godly and so above reproach, smacking them across the knuckles with a ruler because they spoke Yupik in school. You know what I mean? None of them would be in my village. You know, I'd pile them all up. God bless the dead. And I would let the flames burn with those sons of bitches. But that's me speaking right now. I can't change history. You know, I'm just saying 2020 hindsight's a bitch. It really is, man.
Yeah,
It really is.
for us, it seems like when I think about other nations interfering with us and causing us problems, the more I think about the cryptid creatures. I don't even worry anymore about state departments or those guys. I'm thinking I've
Right.
got this to worry about. I've got to get my people,
Actual monsters.
you know, actual monsters. But I have to inform as me, my people. I have to, even if they ridicule me, which some of them are my cousins who have ridiculed. But the more information they got, they're not ridiculing so much. Now they're kind of like, well, 50-50. But once they actually see something or actually see something that happens, you know, they'll go that way and they'll understand that we're trying to warn you and prepare you for all this time, even though you've been making fun of us.
Right. And the reason I brought up what I was just saying is because if it wasn't for those outside influences, it would be easier nowadays for those youngsters and those relatives to really pick up what we're putting down, so to speak. You know, everything's being whitewashed to a certain degree to where it's looked at folklore, it's mythology, instead of, hey, my grandma told me this is what it is, versus, well, that university professor and, you know, this and, you know, this and that, and whatever. That's where I was coming from with that. Because you're absolutely right. That's why I do what I do, is to, hey, I'm just a news reporter saying, hey, Joe Schmo over here had a hairy man throw a rock at him and it hooted like an owl first. You know what I mean? I'm with you on that. Uh, I'm very passionate about informing people about their own ignorance, so to speak, if that makes sense. Because it's that cognitive dissonance. I'm too smart to be fooled by anything, you know. So I believe what I was taught from school. Therefore, what you're saying there, little Indian boy, nah, this book told me better. Even though you know better because you live it day to day in that place versus what they're reading in a book. You know what I mean? So that's ah, it's
That
another
was kind
form of aggravation.
Yeah, that was kind of the purpose of this stream, was to see if we could find they say Indians, you know, because they're saying they're people are saying, oh, they're friendly, they're forest friends, they won't hurt you. But all the other tribes, and there's lists and lists. It's not just the tribes we're talking here, but there's lists of other tribes with names for these things, what they've done. And that's why I kind of showed the one about the Choctaws, because at the very end it says, because of their smell, they're hard to fight. But the Choctaw put that in there to let people know we do battle, we do fight these things, and we have, and they can be fought, and we're still fighting them. And if you looked at that clip, it says, and they are hard to fight. That means the Choctaws we're in this battle.
Right.
I want to
right.
read an introduction that we put up for this final segment tonight earlier on Facebook. because it leads into what you just said. We welcome you to listen in tonight as we conclude our 3-part meeting of what the Indians say about Bigfoot. We will talk with Native relatives from the Pacific Northwest, British Columbia, the North, the Southwest, the South, the Midwest, and representative answers from the East. Our guests are real, currently living, original people from reservations, cities, farmland, desert, swampland, small country towns, and mountains, and not from the elusive and intangible they say tribe.
Right. That's well said. Well said. Very,
So it
very
looks
well
like
said.
final guest is not going to be able to make it tonight, but we will have a show with her, or a
We'll
live
try to
stream
get
with
her
her on a different night. We'll have a stream because she needs some focused attention anyway, as how to deal with the problem. So
Yeah, she's got
So-
some things going on right
but
now.
out of 11 votes, we have 11 votes of predator, that the Bigfoot is predator. So this is what they say. This is what the natives say.
And we wanted it to be where there was a clarification, a clear up to say that if people have heard this somewhere, it's not from these tribes. You know, so
Yeah.
these tribes are saying that. We're saying be careful out there, be aware of what's going on, know your surroundings, and take your precautions. You know, we don't live in fear, and you can have a great time at the lake, whatever. Just take your precautions before you don't go blindly into places, anywhere really.
Yeah, no doubt. And
I just wanted to say, Fred, like everything that you've said has been like really impactful. Like my mom got really triggered by it, and she really wishes that there were more men like you around. I think.
oh, well, thank you very much. And anyone on the panel, I'm easy to find. If you ever want to call me, I'm very easy to find. I answer my phone. And I just want to thank you guys again for including me in this. It's an honor to participate in this. I sincerely mean that from the bottom of my heart. My grandma would be very proud. And yeah, I agree, man. It's there needs to be more of this. And if when your next guest comes on, if you guys want to have me back, just let me know. Just give me a little bit of time and an actual start time, so I'm not an hour and a half late night. Participate a little bit. I did try to text you, and I was like, "Hey, bro, what time? I'm on standby." But
We were in the middle of this, didn't even see it until right when I texted you. I didn't see your reply from earlier because of
This was gifted to my mom by my daughter.
Oh, how cute! Well, that was very sweet.
Where's the claws? I guess it's the female. I guess. Looks like it's got a.
Do you have a
No, we can close this up and get to our next thing.
Okay, so we're not gonna close the entire thing, but we're gonna close the meeting portion of it. We have 11 voters, 11 votes, completely unanimous. The natives is this panel say predator, and so that concludes this 3-part meeting for that. So now I will turn.
So everyone's welcome to stay. But we're gonna just close up with just a few things that we're gonna talk about because we want to share information about this book and a couple of other books that are out. From Bart Nunley and Josh Turner, we're gonna talk about those books too and how these books go together. All these books, they all go together because if they read this book first, they're going to understand what's happening in the other books, or
How to have avoided
and how to avoid ambush areas and traps like that. And I don't know if you heard us, Gina, but we're gonna send y'all a copy of this book for both y'all individually. And Fred, we're gonna send you one
We
autographed
thank you
copy,
for
of
buying
course.
one.
And Charles, we know you have yours, an autographed copy. So we want to thank everybody for coming in tonight and sharing this. This is very important. A lot of people, they're going to see this, and if people do say that the Indians say we're going to share this information with them to just watch these videos, we sat around and talked. We're not the book, we're not the movie. We sat around and talked to each other to come to this conclusion.
Yeah.
From genuine firsthand experience, it's not just.
I want to ask y'all if y'all wouldn't mind hanging on for just a little bit longer.
Oh,
Yeah.
He has entered into the room. So this is kind of like we're going to ask her the same questionnaire as we asked everybody and get her conclusion, but we also want to know what's going on with her. And she'll explain those when we get to the encounter part, like we did everyone. So we'll ask her the list and then get to her encounter part, and we'll talk about what's going on with her. If you got time, and if you don't have time, that's great. We did get your vote, so we know.
we thank you very much.
And we want to thank you for that. But if you want to stay with us, we're going to talk with Stephanie real fast. Not real fast. It may take a little bit, but we want to see what's going on with her because she wants to talk. And this is a room full of experienced people. You're more than welcome to stay. We're going to leave everyone on the screen. If you want to stay here, that's fine. And that's great because we'd rather have more input to help Stephanie. She's got some questions questions that she needs answered.
Mom has to stay, and Mom wants to know if she can talk to Fred later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you guys have my phone number?
No.
I put it up on my YouTube channel every day. If not, you can. I'll get it to you. No problem.
Yeah. All right. I'll look for you on YouTube.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's
Fred.
in the open.
Fred in Alaska.
What is your YouTube channel, Fred?
And you can throw that in the chat too, Fred, if you like.
Oh, Subarctic Alaska Sasquatch. My personal number, my direct line is in every opening sequence of my videos. I'm not hard to find because I stand behind what I'm talking about. I don't whitewash anything, so to speak. I'm really easy. I'll tell you right now, if you got a pin, I'll give it to you. I don't care who's listening. It's already out there in the interwebs. You know what I mean? So if you have a pin, April, I'll be happy to give it to you.
Go ahead. I'm writing it down.
Yeah,
This is just like
Okay, go ahead.
area code 907 315 7965.
And
So yeah. And I usually go by Fred, but I do answer to most 4-letter F words, just as long as they're in context.
I remember you said that.
I sure hope so.
Okay, we'd like to.
Chief, would you mind please putting Fred's link in the chat?
Okay. Subarctic.
Can you? I'm having trouble.
Subarctic Alaska Sasquatch.
Yeah.
Or
even if
one
you
of
could
you
do it,
gentlemen in the chat.
So let us welcome Stephanie. We're going to have Stephanie do her introduction. And Stephanie, we have a few questions that we've asked the entire group here. We'll ask you those same questions, and then we'll get to your encounter and what's going on, if that's okay.
Okay.
Okay, if you could introduce yourself, let us know a little bit about yourself.
Okay, my name is Stephanie Quist. I am I live here out on the plains, out in the middle of nowhere in the plains of South Dakota, on the Cheyenne River Ski Reservation. I've encountered some stuff here, chopping on the windows. I type of thing. My windows sit about 8 feet off the ground. And things like that. Some cooking outside, not at my residence, but at my residence that live about 3 miles down the road. Just some things like that. Dogs barking at night, all night. No coyotes. The coyotes don't come around anymore. I'm not sure why. I don't know, just really strange things going on around here. There's been sightings throughout the years. There's a lot of stories from the townspeople and the elders of just right here on the property, actually, where I live.
Okay.
So,
Stephanie, thank you for getting with us on such short notice.
yes.
We list of questions at the other panel members that we've given them, and we would like to ask you what. Go ahead.
Sorry.
What did your biological grandmother or grandfather tell you about the Bigfoots?
Well, they didn't tell me anything. On both sides, they were very religious. I came from a very religious background on both grandparents' sides. Both my great grandparents, both on the Lakota side and both on the other side.
Okay, and
Did your parents say anything about or the Bigfoots? I'm sorry.
Actually, they have not.
Okay. And these are just leading into your encounter.
what did you see as a child? And you can tell us anything. For this part, it can be
I'm sorry.
people, spirits, ghosts, any monster, anything that you would put around. Do you have any experiences as a child? Shadow people? Or
where I live is there's a lot of spirits on the grounds that I live on, including the house that I bought. A lot of spirits there's the property that I bought. The person I bought the house from, his father lived in the house, and I don't feel him there, but his brother is here. His name is Stan, and he lives in the basement, and he's pretty cool as long as he stays down there. And his father is actually across the way on the property in that home, and he stays pretty much over there. And there's other movement. His great grandparents lived here as well, and the structures are still standing on the property. So I've encountered some experiences where I've turned around and actually saw someone sitting on my bed and asked them to leave. You know,
You like shadow people?
yes, there has been. And I've actually seen a person flying, diving down into the trees. I was at my mom's house hanging clothes last summer, and it was a full body person with wings diving down into the trees. And as soon as it realized somebody was looking, it just dove down into the trees and hid. So that was the first time that I ever saw something like that. And also, it was this past fall. I was driving to my parents' house, which is only 3 miles away west of me. There was something black, and it was the blackest black. I can't even describe what it was. It looked like maybe a panther. I don't know. That's the closest thing I can think of, but it lunged up onto the road, and then it lunged in front of me. It took like 3 lunges in front of me. Then it lunged down the road a few times. It lunged up onto the hill, and it was gone. I mean, it was so fast. It happened so fast, but it wasn't like a cat. It didn't walk like a four-leg. It was lunging. I don't even know. It kind of moved like a bear, but it wasn't like a bear. It was like a shadow. It was black, black, black. I'd never seen anything like that before. Yeah.
I have. this thing that I saw was so black it absorbed light.
Hold that thought, so we can finish getting her questions, please,
Yeah,
and then we'll
Yeah,
give you. Have you ever gifted, Stephanie, a Bigfoot or any other creature, and if so, why?
Have I ever what?
Given gifts to, tried to
No,
establish communication, given gifts?
no.
Okay, good. And have, well, she just answered that
Have
one.
you ever had an encounter? And if so,
Please share the encounter.
please
She just
share
did. You
what's
just did.
going on. If it was a past encounter or what's going on right now, if you could tell us what's happening.
Well, when I first moved into this house, I didn't have curtains in the bedroom. And in the south, I would say that's the southwest bedroom. The windows, like I said, are about 8 feet high. And there was tap, tap, tap. It was always 3 taps on the window. And I was, I would look that way, but I wouldn't see anything. And it was during the day one time. And I looked, nothing was there. And the other times it would happen at night. And that happened several times until I put a curtain up on my window. That was happening in the evening. And someone had stood on the ladder or something to had been able to do that. It was pretty tall up. It's, there's a basement, so there's that, concrete part where the windows are, and then there's the house, and the window's pretty tall up there. So I don't know what the tapping was, but it stopped once I put the curtains up.
Are you noticing any smells or sounds other than that in the area? Any odd smells?
Everything that you
Anything
can think
odd,
of.
inside or outside?
Things moving in the house, anything you can think of that's calls, lights outside, anything.
It's generally all related.
Yeah.
Well, I changed the doorknob on my back door and it was sound, it was solid. Now it's real loose. I've noticed that, like somebody's jiggled it loose. I've noticed that. As far as lights, no. I have a creek that runs behind my house, pretty close behind my house, and I have a hill that's behind my house. But it's pretty barren as far as trees go. I do have some trees that run behind my house. If it was daytime, I'd take you for a tour. But there's trees, and then up on the hill, you can see pretty well up on the hill there. So it's pretty barren. So I've looked at that. I know that one day somebody was coming to pick me up and they stopped at the gate and I was watching them and I said, why are they stopping? They said they saw something big and gray run really fast through the trees, but they couldn't be sure of what they saw. And that happened last fall. Or I'm sorry, it was last winter because it was snow. There was still snow on the ground.
Okay. Well, anywhere that's along ravines or the creeks, those are all ambush areas. So be especially careful around there. You need to watch near your mailbox. We'll just listen. We're going to gift you our book, by the way.
I was just going to.
They will give you everything that you need to know about how to deter these predators. And we've also got a link in the description of Home Deterrence 101 is in the description box, and also spiritual house cleansing, so that the only occupant in your home is you and anyone you choose to be there or on your property. But this book will help you, and we're going to send it to you.
Okay.
But some of the ambush spots that we list are when you go out to your mailbox, your car is an ambush point.
And in your area, you have a lot of open areas, few trees, and lots of hills and ravines. Those hills and ravines are ambush areas. They can get up close to your home And those dark shadows, because there's no lights out there, darker
Right.
than dark, those things can get right up to your house without you even knowing it.
Right.
House up on blocks, or is there any kind of crawl space under your house? Is that secure?
It's a basement.
Oh, good. Okay.
How close are you to the creek?
I'm not good at footage, but
Okay. I'm just asking because a lot of times they'll have a tree knocked over in that ravine somewhere, and the root of the tree, there'll be a tunnel right there, and they'll also tunnel to your home and underneath your home or close to your home where they can come up and out. They'll use a hollow tree like a stump. They'll come up from there and look. They'll go back down, put some soil back up there. But they do. We look for them where they're not supposed to be. So tunnels are a big thing, and we've had trackers find them that they've tunneled underneath from the creeks all the way to the homes and come up underneath them. So even though we don't see them, like out in the plains area, they're around somewhere.
okay.
They'll dig embankment blinds into the edges of those creeks, and they can put blinds on either end, the root end or the foliage end of the tree once it's knocked over the creek. If you see that by the creek, we call those bridges. When you see those, that's one of the first places to start looking.
And if we're watching TV at nighttime, they're going to walk right up to the house. All we hear is the TV. So they're coming. That's when your dogs will act up. They can sense them through the walls.
So another thing you can do is play a radio or something in the room that you're not in, so you can kind of confuse them of which room that you're in. Change that up.
Okay.
What else is happening? Do you have missing pets or anything? Or I don't know if you have pets, but
Missing people in the area.
missing people in the area.
We do have, in South Dakota, it's one of the states that has the highest missing persons. So we have a lot of missing people. A lot of missing people around here.
How about a railroad? Do you have railroads going through your area too?
We don't have railroads here in South Dakota. They do have them in Rapid City, but they don't have them going through South Dakota anymore.
Okay, good.
And then for trash, how do you handle that situation?
To get to my house, you have to drive about a quarter mile back off the main road. So it's up by the main road, the trash is. And a mailbox, I have to go into a town about 45 miles away or 45 minutes away to get my mail. So we don't have mailboxes here.
Okay.
That's very close.
You're in an isolated area.
Because when I was out there, it was 100 miles to the next gas station.
So when you do put the trash out, it's not sitting out at your house. You're taking it down away from the house, right? You don't have it.
Right.
Good.
Exactly.
Okay.
Are you isolated by yourself, or is there a housing district there?
I'm by myself. I actually have somebody on the property, pretty close, the person that sold me the house. So there's 2 houses on the property, but it's 5 acres, 10 acres. I mean, there's the nearest house is about 2 miles away.
When you got this house, did you get a good deal on it?
Yes.
Do the other people on the property know about Bigfoot or admit to knowing about Bigfoot?
Well, actually, yeah, he says, well, he's actually looking for Bigfoot. He goes, I haven't seen him. And I said, well, I don't know if you want to see him. I know that the house the house that's on the property that sits on the road, actually there's 2 old homes there, and one of them was not occupied. They used it as a storage. And the story was, this is back in the early 1900s. He was sleeping and heard a bunch rattling around in the house that they used for storage. So, he got dressed and got his little lamp ready, and he walked out there, and it must have heard him coming because something came out and took the whole door frame and everything out. Just came blasting out of there.
We do know that anywhere that homeless, the easiest way to describe it, anywhere that a homeless would hide,
Yeah.
abandoned houses, under bridges, anything like that, shacks, sheds, old barns, those are also places where these predators will
I want
gravitate
to
to.
show you two videos real fast. We shared this with the other people who were here. So whenever we see things moving in the house, that because fairies and Bigfoots go hand in hand.
Okay.
Wherever a Bigfoot is, a fairy's going to be. So we want to show you because fairies will pull that drawer open. They'll open that refrigerator door. They're looking for food. And what we think is spirits are going around the house. These are these little fairies. Some are up to 2 foot tall. Some of them are small like a fly. But they'll knock things off. They'll even trip us. They'll do things like that for us to drop food, or there'll be a spot in the house where you just drop things
To cause irritation.
or to cause irritation. Like
Fear.
feel like there's something on you everywhere, stuff like that. But we want to show you this video of fairies so that when you talk about lights and things moving in your house, always give this a consideration also. And start using, and we're going to help you because we want to help you start deterring what's happening at your house. But let's show you this video real fast, and it's kind of self-explanatory, but you'll see the lights, you'll see the fairies. We break it down, but this could be your activity that's happening inside the house. But there's also shadow people and translucent beings that will get inside the house also, and we can show you the video after this one of translucent beings, of their invisibility, their cloaking. We have them on photo also. So give us 5 minutes and we're going to run through this video real fast to show you what these fairies do, okay?
Okay.
Okay, be right back. Oh, the sound's not working.
For me, the sound was working for me.
It was?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to let it play then. Or let me actually try that. Okay, and here we go. Red eyes in the forest. Lights in the sky and the forest. A lightning bug of unusual size. A strange light in the darkness or night sky, hovering or moving from side to side. Images of a fireball in the sky. Multiple crackling sparks in the sky.
We get her vote.
Yeah. I want to show you real fast. It's only going to take 1 minute. These are the translucent ones. Like like whenever you said you heard a tap on the window, and tapping on a window is a mating call. Like a spider will do the same thing. They'll tap on that window. They're trying to get your attention, trying to get you to come outside. But that's what a spider does. It mates. It's trying to tap you and trying to let you know that it's interested. But when you open it up and you didn't see anything, we're going to show you that you was probably looking right at it, but it was in its translucent stage. So we're going to show you some translucent Bigfoots right now.
At any given time, you have offensive and defensive feelings that protect you. Goose pimples on the arm, hair on the back of your neck stands up, flowing wind or a shiver. It all informs you of a cosmic translucent predator. The demon takes an outlining form by bending light. They look like heat waves on a hot highway. See-through or blurred, just an outline of a form. Boiling, shimmering, crystallized, or a watery haze look. Right behind the light is where the demon hides.
Wow.
And that was a clip from our DVD documentary. And we're actually going to send everyone also, not just the book, but we're going to also send you that documentary that we made. It also shows you ambush areas, where to find these things, what to look for, where they're going to be at. So can you give us any more encounters that is happening right now? And then we want to ask you for a vote of whether you consider this a predator or a non-predator. But we want to really ask you if we could have you back also to do a full interview with you, Stephanie.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
it's alarming because I used to spend hours out in that creek by myself, you know,
And
and to know that, things, because I would get feelings of something looking at me, I didn't feel like I was by myself,
Mhm.
I would feel uncomfortable, yet I would spend hours out there. Yeah, it's pretty
they're
crazy.
around you, and we want to help you start deterring your area. Little things that we can start off with, but we want to stay with you and help you deter these things. And we, actually, in the description, in the link below, we have the spiritual house cleansing video that we'd like for you to also look at, because that's getting rid of fairies. That's the way we do it. We'll clean the entire room, put towels underneath the door so that they don't try to get underneath them back under. And we, we'd be cleaning it for nothing. They'll go back under. So we put a towel, then we go to the next room, clean that one, do the same thing, next room. We're just forcing them out until we get to that front door. And you'll see how we do it. We use towels, everything, but they don't try to go around us. We go sporadically with towels and stuff. So they're forced to go out the door or get hit or be killed. So they'd rather move out of the way. But we have that link in the description. And we also have Tracking and Deterrence 101. That's in the description below. Also,
That's what the thumbnail looks like.
That's the thumbnail. It's a trailer. One's a trailer. One's the 3.5 hours, and that's where we went to a person's house from scratch, and we laid the track traps. We showed exactly what we do and how we deter what we're looking for, how to get the confirmations with the track traps for the prints and everything, where to look for those. Where to look for what you're looking for. But that's also in the description. So after this, if you look at that, it'll help you start deterring on setting traps. We need to know if it's three-toed, how big it is, the size of the track, claws, no claws. And all those tracks will give us that information of also how many and where they're coming from and where they're going to. So if you get a chance, look in the description and watch those. You can watch the trailer real fast and just shows you what we're doing. But it will help you start deterring from your home. We can't help your neighbors. Only you can help those neighbors, but we can help you.
And we'll get that book to you, and so that you can read it before the interview or before we talk to you again.
Yeah.
And then, it'll be interesting to see how it applies to what you've seen, how many puzzle pieces it fills in, and we'll have we'll talk after you.
Yeah, and then we'll have a real good talk after.
All right, that sounds good.
All right, did you get our email today?
I did not. I didn't have a chance to look at the email.
Okay.
Okay.
When you
Thank you for coming in blind.
Yeah, just jumping in. But if you could go to that email and then send us some information, everyone, or Fern can get a hold of us on how we get send these books to y'all. And also in Alaska, Fred, if you can get us some information so we can send you the books. And we're sending you the DVD also, everything.
Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you.
Stephanie, would you, for your vote,
Oh, yeah.
predator, regards to Bigfoot, predator or not predator?
Well, I'm not sure.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I mean, I
And
you know.
You can abstain.
And we'll wait on your vote because you wasn't hearing all the other tribes talk. You just came in. You don't know Fred's stories or Gina's story or War Chief's story and the other ones who were here. So it kind of like you kind of just jumping in, and
Fair to you.
it's unfair to you to put that out.
Just so that we'll know that, because I don't think you were in the room when we did, out of the 11 on the panel that were here before you got here to make the 12, all 11 have voted predator.
So
with that, I think that we will.
yeah, we'll look at either next Saturday or next Monday. If get some free time, whichever is best for you, Stephanie.
Okay.
We'll get the book.
And we're going to send that book out as soon as we get the address. We're going to send the book out, and we're trying to. Hopefully, we can get them sent out tomorrow if we get all the addresses. I know we got some errands to run, so we can get those and burn some
Fred's
more.
is not a rush because his.
And well, Fred
got
gets the DVD.
Oh yeah.
It's a book and so we'll get back with you, Stephanie, and we want to talk to you more about everything and help you with that deterrence. We know things are happening there, and we can help.
Okay.
We would like to thank every one of you on the panel: War Chief, Gina, April, Tracker A is also named April.
Yeah.
Fred,
Tracker B,
Harper Faulkner, who we'd mentioned earlier, and there's one more.
Holly, and Jess.
Yes, I hope Bernice, Steve, Jeff, April, Holly, Furman, Ed, Harper A, and Harper. We would like to thank every one of you, and also Bob. Thank you for putting Stephanie with us. And we will get back.
Before we do this, are there any last comments or words anybody would like to say to the board?
And Jerry, y'all cutting out pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're wondering if anyone has any final words or anything that they would like to say, now's your chance, and then we will say a closing prayer to each other, to future listeners, to the program, to anything, whatever you want to say, now's the time.
Thank you for letting me
I'd
jump
like
in
to
at the
start.
end there. Oh, I'm sorry.
No worries. I'd just like to say, listen to your elders.
Yeah.
Thank you, Fred. Go ahead, Stephanie.
I just wanted to thank y'all for letting me jump in.
Oh, thank you. We appreciate you very much, and we're going to get your problems.
Yeah, we heard a lot about you.
You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Fred, I'll give you a call.
Thank you.
All right. I'll be waiting.
Hi. I just want to say thanks to everybody too for their stories and stuff. And I hate calling them stories because they're reality, right?
Their history.
Yeah, they're part of us.
Story.
Yeah. And a little moved today, because I went to residential school and I have horrible stories about that. And I get emotional when I talk about it. I went there in 1954 and I left in 1964. So, and it's still affecting my life even now.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for hearing me.
Absolutely. And in our ears are open to you anytime you want to talk on air or off air.
Yeah.
You just let us know. The friendship doesn't end here.
Yeah.
Please do stay in touch with us. And even some of those things, just want to talk about them privately, get them off your chest, and get a little more healing going. That our hearts and ears are open to you.
Indians understand residential school.
And on behalf of, I know that we can't apologize for what other people do,
But we won't.
but hearts go out to you. So, April, is there anything you wanted to say?
I appreciate being here as well. It was nice, and it's nice meeting all of you guys. And it was nice meeting you too, Stephanie.
All right, we'll say a prayer and we will close for the night.
We're all relatives.
Yeah. Different tribes, same struggle.
Yeah.
Same father.
Yeah. We're all here together.
Same
Yep.
father.
Thank you, everyone. We'll say a prayer. Father, we thank you for the people that you brought tonight and that you put us in theirs. We thank you for your hand of covering over each person here. We thank you for your healing for trauma from the past. And we thank you for your protection from trauma in the future, Lord. We pray the mighty hand of protection covers them from all enemies, all predators, spiritual and physical and human, in any kind of form or combination, Lord. We pray that you will just show us the way through everything that will happen, and that you will give us the guiding words and wisdom to share with our future generations so that they don't have to suffer the same situations. We thank you for your son. We thank you for the power that is in his name and sacrifice. We thank you for creation. We thank you for being a part of creation, and we love you for it. In Jesus' name, amen.
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 Everybody stay safe out there. We'll continue to y'all if we get emails. Stephanie will be in contact with you. We want to stay with you for the interview. And what else?
Those who tuned in to each of the meetings, allowed to talk or anything. We know that had to be hard. You probably have things that you wanted to say and how much you wanted to everything.
I'll send my email here in the chat for you guys.
Not in the public chat.
Okay. I won't.
Public chat. Give
You can text it to me.
Okay.
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 And let's not make this be,
Don't play bravest friend there with that.
Yeah.
You know, be very careful about your person.
and let's not make this be the last time that we think. Of course, we're going to be Stephanie, Fred. We want to talk to you more, Gina. We want to know more about what you went through. We got some other friends who has some of the same things.
Yeah.
I think it'd be good if we all sit down and talk
Sure.
about some things.
Yeah.
That's the end of
And
set of,
also,
not the end of.
Go ahead,
right,
Fred.
not to interrupt, but also Stephanie, if you're having any outside issues or whatever, I don't know if you were on when I was giving out my phone number, but please get it from those guys if you need to talk to anyone as well. And I know she offered it as well. It's not easy being isolated. A lot of these entities that come at night or even during the day, they prey on vulnerability. So try your best not to make yourself vulnerable, because they will prey on that in a heartbeat, because they always look for the weakest way in. The easiest route is the route they're going to take.
Yeah.
And always keep the armor of God on.
Amen. That and some good copper jacketed hollow points, maybe. All right. Yeah,
Good slugs.
yeah,
Everyone
good
goes,
solid slugs too.
Yeah, that's what we use.
3-inch Benelli slugs.
Yeah.
Good old
Yeah.
30-06.
Okay.
That works sometimes. not every time. I can personally speak to that.
Placement is key.
Right
Those
here.
friends don't do it there. Do it there.
It's right for that third
Right.
eye. All right.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go ahead and close. And thank you for your time and giving us the information. Now we all have the information. Now nobody can ask us, and we're not the ones saying it.
You know what they say.
So whoever they
What
say
do you
is,
mean
it's
say?
not us. So we know
That's right.
people out there and to prepare our children. We don't want them to go through what we went through, but we do want them to be prepared. So, I want to thank everybody again tonight. A lot of people just with your stories and the information there, and we appreciate every one of you.
I want to say real quick, just thank you, because 24/7, this his wheels never stop. Great, maybe not 24/7, but 27. His wheels do not stop turning of how to protect people, how to reach people, how to just share the knowledge with people, and especially with the, you know, he cares about everyone, but clearly there's a special spot in his heart for the natives, and trying to think of ways to just help constantly. And I'm just really, really proud of you. That's
And always keep your tomahawk sharp.
All right, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
So everyone, have a good night, Warriors. We will see you again. Stephanie will be in touch. Everyone will be in touch. But everybody have a great night. We appreciate everything out there shared.
Bye.
All right, y'all too, and have a good one. We'll talk to you guys later.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Fred.
Hi,
All
y'all.
Bye.
Good night, everybody. Thank y'all so much.